Ізраїльський комплекс працює в Україні. Місяць.
Як?
Місяць працює.
Israel appears to end its neutrality in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. According to the Straits Times and Indo-Military, Israel has deployed a Patriot air defense battery in Ukraine quietly. What does this move truly mean? Since 2022, Israel has claimed a neutral stance in the Russia-Ukraine war, maintaining diplomatic ties with both sides. On 27 September 2025, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced that a Patriot battery from Israel had been operating in Ukraine for 1 month before public disclosure. Zelensky added that 2 more batteries might arrive this autumn. However, Israeli officials deny direct military transfers, raising further questions about how the system arrived, under whose control it operates, and what message this deployment sends to Moscow. To grasp this move, we must examine the history of Israel's relations with Russia and Ukraine. Israel, allied with the United States, initially maintained distance to avoid provoking direct confrontation with Moscow. It even declined to sell the Pegasus surveillance system to Ukraine to preserve Russia's tolerance. Yet shifting geopolitics in the Middle East changed the calculus. Russia's closeness to Iran alarmed Israel, which views Iran as an existential threat. In Syria, Israel has frequently struck Iranian assets and proxies, and freedom of air operations in Syrian airspace has been a strategic interest, one that required diplomatic compromise with Russia. After Assad's regime weakened and Russia's influence in Syria diminished, Israel might see that its strategic parameters have shifted. A triangular transfer scheme emerged. The United States asks Israel to return its old Patriot battery, refurbishes it, then sends it to Ukraine, allowing Israel to claim no direct offensive transfer. According to the New York Times, the Patriots transferred are legacy systems, decommissioned by Israel since the 1990s Gulf War era. In other words, these are not the latest PAC-3 MSE variants, but older PAC-2 or early PAC-3 units that had been mothballed. The move is less about providing cutting-edge technology and more about symbolism and political signaling. Let's dissect the technicalities of the Patriot air defense system, one of the world's most iconic. A single Patriot battery comprises an engagement control station, a multifunction radar, or MPQ-53 or MPQ-65, a power generator unit, a communications unit, and 4 to 8 missile launchers. The MPQ radar can reach hundreds of kilometers and track dozens to hundreds of targets simultaneously. Patriot missiles in their PAC-2 or PAC-3 variants can intercept ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and aircraft. The PAC-3 uses a hit-to-kill mechanism, slamming directly into its target, while the PAC-2 uses a fragmentation warhead. Intercept speeds can exceed Mach 3, and the control system computes trajectories with advanced algorithms. In the Ukrainian theater, Patriots could provide protection against missile or precision air attacks from Russia, serving as a strategic air defense layer that complements NASAMS, IRIS-T, and SAMP-T systems already in the country. However, the system heavily depends on interoperability with other command and control arrays, missile resupply, and logistical support. If deployed near the front lines, radar range may be constrained by terrain or suffer from Russian electronic jamming. There are also questions about whether Ukraine has enough trained operators to sustain continuous use, or whether NATO specialists are shadow operating these batteries. Israel's move to supply a Patriot system to Ukraine via indirect routing implies extremely high risk calculus. Risk 1, harsh Russian reaction. Even though it is an old system, public perception might spark diplomatic escalation. Russia could accuse Israel of overtly siding with Ukraine, thus undermining Israel's position in Syria and the broader Middle East. Risk 2, operational failure. If the Patriot underperforms or gets penetrated, Israel and the supplying parties face criticism. Risk 3, logistical and security burden. The system requires continuous maintenance and physical protection against retaliation. The major integration challenge remains data compatibility, communications among Ukrainian systems, and mitigating electronic threats like jamming and spoofing. Yet the strategic intent is clear. Israel signals that its old neutrality is obsolete and that the Iranian threat, enabled by Russia, is more perilous. Israel aims to maintain diplomatic footing with the West while sending signals to Russia and Iran that its tolerance boundary has expanded. It's a balancing act, but one that demonstrates that Israel is no longer willing to sit on the sidelines while Russia strengthens ties to Tehran. The regional impact is significant. Ukraine gains enhanced air defense, potentially shifting Russia's calculus on open attacks. Middle East states will note Israel's signal that its tolerance of Russia-Iran interactions has shifted. U.S.-aligned Arab states may lean towards Moscow or Washington depending on how Israel's move is received. Global impact is equally concerning. This may trigger escalation in defense procurement. Other states may adopt covert transfer strategies, funneling legacy systems to Ukraine or elsewhere through indirect channels. Russia may respond with diplomatic pressure, propaganda campaigns, or military threats to Israel or intermediary countries. Within NATO and the U.S. camp, Israel might gain support or tolerance as a regional balancing player. But there is also the risk that other neutral nations will face diplomatic pressure not to overtly support Russia, thereby shrinking the space for non-aligned diplomacy in this war. We are witnessing a dramatic shift in the global strategic map. Israel is gradually abandoning neutrality and entering the Russia-Ukraine conflict. This decision is not just about armaments, but a political statement, power balance, and tolerance threshold in a multipolar era. Will this move mark a new turning point in global conflict? Will Russia respond forcefully, and what will the effects be in the Middle East? Leave your opinion in the comments. Are you taking sides, or do you see this as a cold strategic move? Don't forget to subscribe and hit notification for more military documentary videos. See you in the next video. This video narration is based on reports from the Straits Times, the New York Times, Reuters, and AP News. Full sources are available in the video description.